Welcome back to the Webby and O'Neill channel. Sir David Brailsford has stepped aside in his role at Manchester United as Barrada and Wilcox take control of the football operations. Also, we want to discuss the news on Mbeumo as well from Brentford after that first bid has been submitted from Manchester United as talks continue to find a middle ground in getting that deal done. We want to know your opinion, so have your say in the comments section and we'll try and discuss your comments throughout today's live video. Thoughts on Brailsford?
Well, it's not been easy. Listening or even watching what Brailsford's been doing the last 18 months. But from a club point of view, I think it's very good because the restructuring is done. His movement now back into the board, that's where he'll be. I think he's done everything. He's a man of margins. He wants to improve things by 1%. He's a cycling man. He's not football. Some people have overhyped him. But only time will tell the changes what he's made into this club. Really, he was there for the ears and the eyes of Sir Jim Ratcliffe, but he has put in some systems in place to improve certain areas of this football club. So it's all done as far as I'm concerned, the restructuring. All the football people are in now, and there is an hierarchy. You've got Barrada, which goes down to Ruben Amorim, and there's people in between like Wilcox, Vivell. So I look at it now and say to myself, it's over. The restructuring's over. There's a clear pathway going forward.
Yeah, you've got Wilcox, who's been promoted director of football. Christopher Vivell as well. He's still the director of recruitment. Let me know out there. Do you think they'll actually bring any more bodies in? Maybe one or two, maybe to replace Wilcox, who was the technical director. Sorry, but his overall influence, you know, Brailsford. I mean, he was the man who brought the CEO in, chased him, Omar Berrada. I mean, you look at also Dan Ashworth. That was obviously a huge mistake on their part in how that ended. You know, you're looking at the end of season reviews he was conducting. Not last season, the season before with Erik ten Hag. Do you think maybe they looked at the end of the season review this season and thought, oh, hang on a minute, you're pointing too many fingers at us here. You've got to go, lad.
I think, what's the name? I think when you look at Omar Berrada, and Ruben Amorim and the people in between, they've looked at it and said, right, we know what to do. We're the football people. That's done. You're out. We don't need you anymore. I think he was getting in the way. But I do look at him. I have been critical of him, like most people. But you've got to look at him there. He had to get in there and, for one thing, sort that medical team out. It was a joke. The doctors, the fitness coaches and everything. And when you look at players' medicals and everything, he's just ripped that apart. So I suspect that there was a lot of people inside United what weren't up to the job. He's gone in there and he's cleared it out. It's been tough to watch, been tough to listen to. But every system is in place. He's had no specific role as far as I'm concerned. He's just been part of a process. And what we have to say is we have to put our hands up and say now and hope that the process is over and everything going forward now. Everyone should know the role.
He did actually quit the Grenadiers, didn't he? Was it back in March? So it's a short space of time from quitting there to take on more of a hands role at United, and then we're only at the start of June, then for him to step down and go back to that. Do you think it's due to his influence inside the club where you've got the likes of Omar Berrada, Wilcox thinking to themselves, you're not really a football man, you're not really a football expert, leave it to us, and they've had a sit down?
No, I think there's been a clear idea, a strategy of what he's been bringing into the club. You know, like I say, it's all about margins, improving things, improving players by 1%. He's brought a lot of technical things into the club. Now, only time will tell if that works. I mean, football's football. There's the ball, run along the line, dribble, score a goal.
4-4-2.
That's simple. But what seems to be happening, especially in Manchester United now, there's more technical stuff for these players to understand fitness levels and everything. So I think he's done inside United now. And I think this time next year, I don't think you'll see him. I think he will move on to other things with inside the INEOS group. There's other sporting things there. And also, he is Ratcliffe's best pal by the sounds of it. So there is a plan where he's going. The quicker he gets out, to be honest with you, the better, and more football people come in there. But I look at it as positive I think everyone there now, I think Ruben Amorim, he's satisfied. He's got the people to go to. He's not in between. And he also, people will look at him as if to say, oh, his teacher's pet, Ratcliffe's teacher's pet, got to watch what you say and all that. We know what it's like. We know what life's like. But he's gone in there and he's ripped this club apart. He started walking around, looking at all the dirt on the floor in the changing rooms, everything else like that. So he's just ripped this club apart, and it's been painful, so painful. But I am confident now that everything, the process has been done and everything's in place. And I think we have to hope it's all done. Very tough times ahead still, but the football people are there, and these people, yeah, you've looked at Dan Ashworth, bit of a falling out there, but you're going to get that over 18 months when someone takes on this massive job. And it is a massive job.
10-4 from our members club says there's no way on earth that Brailsford can be considered best in class. Fraudulent nonsense. Cunny says, and I was waiting for this one off someone in the chat, he's been told to get on his bike.
Yeah, he might have been told to get on his bike. He might have been. We're not privy to it fully. But it's right. He hasn't been best in class because he had no football knowledge. I think when it comes out fully what his role has been, it's all been technical stuff, getting on the computers and making sure that people...
But from the flip side of it, though, you've got to look at it, though. A structure needed to be put in place at this football club. It was carnage and chaos, no plan, no direction. It was just spinning round in circles and not getting anywhere. So, like you say, only time will tell. But we might look back on this and think, well, he did have a big part to play in setting a structure up at Manchester United, and then step back at the right time to let the football people run the football operations, like your Wilcox, your Barrada, who have got that footballing background.
Well, the structure is in place. So, if anything, it's been done. A lot of people wanted that structure straight away. When they talked about best in class, they were giving out high PR and everything else like that. But the reality of life is it does take time to get the process and the right people in place. They believe the right people are in place now. There's a big clear out going, so it works for the club that the right people are in place for this big clear out, and it's a difficult job to clear these people out. So these people now who have taken over and Brailsford's sidelined, they've got to get the, as they say, the dead wood out and take this club forward now. And we've got to build on it. Will any other people come in? I'm not too sure. I don't think so. I think everyone's in place now. If you haven't got it right after 18 months, then we're in trouble.
Yeah, no, of course. And you take yourself back a few years ago at Nice, Brailsford actually done an audit over there of the football club, which actually resulted in Ratcliffe sacking his own brother, Bob. So do you think there is anything to do with last season's performance and how poor it was? And, you know, he's a sacrifice of that, or do you think it's a totally separate issue and a separate matter?
No, I think it's a separate issue. I think he's been there to overhaul what's inside there, like I say, with the coaches, the fitness coaches and everything else like that, and the medical team. So he's had a role to do. I think the results have got absolutely nothing to do with this move. He's now there sat with Sir Alex Ferguson and David Gill, part of the boardroom. But what input he'll have now, I think it'll be minimal, and then they'll just move him on because it's done as far as I'm concerned. I just like some of the things he's put in. They sound good. Improvement here, improvement there. And as time goes on, we'll soon see the effects of what's going on. But I'm sure Ruben Amorim, with his forthright comments and everything, will tell us more as and when he gets on the podium in these press conferences.
Don't get me wrong, you know, just judging off his actual position in actual Manchester United, Brailsford, over the past, like, let's say 12, 18 months, do you think him leaving gives Jim Ratcliffe more power? I know he's the co-owner and Sir David Brailsford wasn't. He was just on the board and still is. But do you think it gives more sort of power in that structure to Sir Jim Ratcliffe? Or do you think he's looking at it, Ratcliffe, as well, that he might step away at some point himself now that a structure has been put in place by Brailsford?
I don't think it's about power. I don't think it's about people having power. Yes, there's egos in there that, you know,
Billionaires, it comes with it. Egos come with that.
Yes, we know that. But I think what it is, I think when you look at Sir Jim Ratcliffe, he's got enough to do in life. He's got a massive company there, what's got big problems. He's got other other schemes going on. No, there's a structure in place now. So when you talk about power, I think what you have to do is say there's a structure now. He's the head of it now, Omar Berrada. Don't forget, he didn't come in till July last year anyway. So he's only had 12 months there. We're seeing more and more of him being fronted in the media. We've seen it over there on the after-season tour, what they did in Hong Kong and in Malaysia.
For me, yeah.
So for me, I think it's clear. I think now Omar Berrada's there. I think as I see it, if you go back to the David Gill era, David Gill was the face of Man United. I think what you've got now is Omar Berrada. So it's not a matter of power. It's a matter of getting the structure, the right people in place, and everyone on the same page. And I look at Vivell and I look at Wilcox and that, and I think they're all on the same page. And I think Ruben Amorim's on the same page because he was forced to come in November. He didn't want to be here, but he's surely would have been part of the process about little things, little changes going on.
Yeah, and I do believe that, but I fully believe that Barrada is calling the shots at Manchester United and has been doing this season. I mean, if you look back on the season before with Ten Hag, it was like Brailsford's and other people behind the scenes, their decision to keep Erik Ten Hag. He was also heavily influenced in bringing Dan Ashworth to the club. I mean, two people that Barrada got rid of, and I'm sure there was support from Brailsford with Barrada and other people for him to go out and get his man, which is Ruben Amorim. I mean, and now you come to this point in June, Brailsford then steps away. I think there's a heavy influence now where Omar Berrada is calling the shots at Manchester United. Yeah,
he's calling the shots now. But I think for the last 12 months, he's been walked through this club. You've got to remember, this is a worldwide club, right? And it takes a real understanding and real time to get used to what this club is all about. Lots of people have walked inside this club and they've been taken aback by it. Ruben Amorim's been taken aback by it. So I think Omar Berrada's been led round, and I think Brailsford was part of that role, showing him what to do, and also learning more and more of what they wanted from within inside the club and the changes and everything. So for me, Barrada's the top man now, and you'll hear more of him.
We have still got to remember, though, it was one of the worst seasons in my living memory, what we had last season. Do you think it is slowly getting it right into the right places where, you know, it's not a case of, you know, United looking at it and thinking, you know, the scale of the task is actually too big for them?
No, I think what you see now is exactly what they envisage from their words, from their conversations, what I've listened to. They expected this. Ruben Amorim expected this, the worst season. He wasn't going to be able to change it round until everyone was in the right place and everyone was on board. And then we hopefully managed to get rid of the deadwood out the club. No, I think we're at the bottom. The only way is up. I hope so, anyway. But I think everyone's in the right place. So for me, this was expected by Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Brailsford and certain other people inside the club, because it was a full clear out of the system, what was in there, because it has been 10, even more years of underperforming, bad signings, and I mean terrible signings and everything. You know, I talk about signings, and people haven't mentioned it for a while. And I remember Sanchez, mad money he was on. We went and got him, and on the first day, he just chucked it in. The first day, he said he took one look around, and that was it. So where was the preparation? Where was the work done with him, for instance? But that is just a symptom of what has gone on with many, many players. You won't see that again. You better not anyway.
You'd think a lot of the job cuts though at Manchester United's staff, you know, has been down to a part that Brailsford has played at Manchester United in reviewing the whole club from top to bottom. So there will be a lot of people out there who will have a bad taste in the mouth about Brailsford, and we'll see him, we'll be happy seeing him go.
Yeah, but as a club, you have to move on. You have to make changes. You couldn't sit still here. This club needed a full clear out. Yes, there has been casualties, some casualties what don't sit well with a lot of people, but it had to be done, this clear out. We had to get to the bottom, okay? And we are at the bottom. But I look at it and think to myself, a hell of a lot of people for 10, 20 years have just sat inside that club and milked it for their own personal gain and that, whereas they've not all been together. I feel as though this situation, what we've got now with the people in charge, they're all together, they're all one, they're all on the same page. There was that many departments in there. They were looking after each other. And I think what Brailsford has been part of is bringing this club together on a full understanding of where we have to be. But he had to be part of ripping this club up, ripping this club apart. It had to be done. As painful as it was for a lot of people and a lot of fans, this is it now, at the bottom. And let's see what happens now.
Yeah, I'd just like to ask you all out there, do you feel more confident maybe with the structure at Manchester United with Omar Berrada at the top and the likes of Christopher Vivell and Jason Wilcox, you know, calling the shots on the recruitment and the footballing department? Let me know what you think, or if we need any more lads in there, you know, in certain positions like technical director and so on. But yeah, news as well last night. Bryan Mbeumo, or is it Mbeumo? I'm going Mbeumo. I think that sounds and pronounces a lot better for a champ when he does sign for Manchester United. That's how confident I am of him coming here. But yeah, it sounds like the first offer, the first talks, you know, 45 million plus 10 million in add-ons was rejected by Brentford. They want a fee closer to the actual fee we paid for Cunha.
I think whatever, whatever they put in, Brentford were going to reject it. They think they've got the upper hand, in my opinion, but I don't think so. Mbeumo, he wants United, so I think that puts United in a good position bargaining-wise. This will take a while now, while they go back and forth, but it's to be expected. All this haggling, it's just the way it is. And United always seem to get in a haggling position because their position is they want to pay it in instalments, and that's why it will drag on. And that's probably why Brentford will try and sit and demand more than what United are prepared to pay. But it will drag on for a few days. Yeah,
there was a lot of talk. I think was it just coming out yesterday? I don't know where it actually stemmed from, but the reports that he wants 250 grand a week, all the headlines were Mbeumo's demanding 250 grand a week. I mean, what do you think about all that? Surely they don't know the actual ins and outs already of what he's actually so-called demanding.
Well, I'm not having it. It's trying to put United back on that pedestal of overpaying players when it's clearly not the way Man United are going. I mean, the statement from Sir Jim Ratcliffe and everything, he already slaughtered players, overpaid players who weren't good enough to be earning that money. He won't be paying that. I think this is just some sort of like where the media play again and they throw something in there and then it's stuck, because it clearly has stuck, about 250k without even negotiating. So for me, I'm not having it. I think it's a load of bull. No way is he worth paying that much in today's money. No one else is going to pay it. So for me, not on at all. I think I'm not even going to say what I think he should earn, because it's not my place. Whatever he earns is whatever he earns. But the figure of 250,000 per week, absolutely ludicrous as far as I'm concerned. And it's media, again, coming at United with negative. But we expect that, don't we, lads?
Yeah, I think he'll get a fair salary anyway at Manchester United. I think salary what we'd all actually jump at anyway. And just going like back onto Cunha there, you know, the actual contract that he's been given. And if you look back to last season as well, while they were in charge in the first summer, contracts that were given out, you know, 4 or 5 year contracts. I always do go back to interviews that Ratcliffe has done where he talks about, you know, giving players high wages, but long-term contracts when they've not deserved it. But, you know, are they more confident in their own recruitment here at Manchester United instead of like the years gone by with people who have actually been the head of recruitment bringing people in?
I don't think they're confident. I think they're hopeful. I think everyone inside the club is hopeful that they can do the right thing for Manchester United. And the right thing for Manchester United now is saving money. And they're not just going to just flit it away by, oh, here we go. We're rock bottom as a football club. We've got no money and we want this player and we're going to give him 250 grand. That is not on at all. We've already seen problems with negotiations carrying on and it's disrupting the club. You look at Mainu, for instance, them contract talks for over 12 months now, back and forth in the press. So there is negotiations. People aren't getting what they expected a couple of years ago. This is a low-paying football club for now. And then when we improve, then obviously the superstars come in. That's what Sir Jim Ratcliffe told. Then he has to look at it differently. But for now, there is no big money. I'd be very surprised if he gets more than just over double than what he was on at Brentford. And I don't know what he was on at Brentford.
Fred Grantham, legends, gifted 5 memberships. The 5 people who've been gifted them memberships, big thank you to Fred. Rocky says, if Mbeumo is messing about, move on. Not making that same mistake again. And yeah, he's got a point. And I'm sure they actually will move on to other targets. I don't think they will be held to ransom like we've seen in the past with Richard Arnold and Murto spending a month or a month and a half in Spain trying to learn like the likes of Frankie de Jong to Manchester United. I don't see any of that.
I don't see Mbeumo dragging his feet or anything like that playing United. No. I think the conversations have gone on. And United, listen, for United to go in there and put the bid in and everything is sorted as far as I see and understand with Mbeumo. So there's no worries that he wants to come to Manchester United. There's no worries as far as I'm concerned that they've sorted out his personal terms. If you go back to every transfer, what seems to be going on at the moment, players are spoken to first, the contracts are sorted out and everything. So I don't see any problem with Mbeumo coming to Manchester United. That's what he wants. There's a lot of other clubs, apparently, what have been circling around what want him, and he's rejected him because he's had conversations. So I've no fear of him coming to United. I've no fear or worry about what they're going to pay him. The 250 is a joke as far as I'm concerned. The only thing I'm concerned about now is him coming to United and scoring goals, because that's what he is. Now, the other thing is when I talk about scoring goals, people have to remember, because I've not seen many people mention it, he won't be scoring goals in December or in January for United because he's off in the African Nations Cup playing for Cameroon. He used to play for France, but hey, how that works, I don't know. But the goals will dry up from him because he won't be here in December and January. But that's life.
Andre Onana, then, is he off to the African nations? He's playing for Cameroon as well, isn't he? So,
well, a lot of people out there wouldn't care less about Andre Onana playing for Cameroon. They're hoping that he plays for Cameroon from another team. Most people want him sold, but hey, we'll soon see on that score.
Yeah, Gaminda has just given us an update. The actual reports of Mbeumo's wage demands, as they title it in the press, is coming from a Newcastle fan who's a journalist. And yeah, I've seen a lot on social media, Newcastle fans crying about Manchester United.
Yeah,
they're getting Cunha, going for Mbeumo, you know, their 2 targets, then talking about PSR and they can't spend their money. They've got the richest owner in the world, all that sort of stuff. And I suppose they're just feeling a lot sore because, you know, Manchester United have still got that pull despite where they finished last season and no Champions League or even European football.
Well, I'll make it clear again. Players, their contracts with the agents, with the club, are sorted out before a football club puts in a bid. So this 250 is just people looking for clicks and clout. I take nothing from these reports at all. I'm just not having it because the player should be, well, it sounds as though he wants United, so it's all done as far as I'm concerned. And these reports would not leak out. I very much doubt these reports about any players, what he's demanding or anything like that, especially coming from that, a Newcastle fan.
Yeah, a lot of people getting involved. They also think that it's hard to believe them actual wage demands. It must be going on triple his actual current wages, surely. What is it?
Apparently, it's 5 times more. Yeah. But that's good headlines. Good headlines from the Man United haters. So they're all out there. And this is the problem with reports out there. They come flying in from different sources and all that because they get traction. And I will still stick to the club and the player, negotiated terms and everything. And that's their private business. And they've kept it that way.
Marcus Stevenson from our members club. The thought of an attack of Gyökeres and Mbeumo and Cunha with Bruno behind them is giving me dreams. Gyökeres, what is happening out there with Gyökeres? Because I don't see any other clubs apart from really Arsenal being linked to him. And really, the stronger reports are Arsenal going for Sesko So where's that leaving Gyökeres? I mean, every team out there, it doesn't matter whether you're PSG, Real Madrid, Barcelona, what a man who scores goals and has got the actual CV that he has of putting the ball in the back of the net. And I'm not seeing or hearing any movement from credible sources out there at all. I mean, we know Manchester United were in the market for a striker with Liam Delap's move to Chelsea. You know, are we in a situation here now where Manchester United are looking at Gyökeres? They can't afford the fee, so they're having to wait to get some players out the door before they can make an actual bid for him. Because for a striker like Gyökeres to not be mentioned strongly with other clubs or bids being put in, has he been told by Ruben Amorim, listen, mate, just wait, hold on, and throughout the transfer window, we'll keep you updated while we try and shift some of these players out of the club? I mean,
well, this is the conversation me and Kieran had a few days ago, because we was puzzled why Gyökeres wasn't being mentioned with other clubs or anything. Even with United at the moment, it all seems to have gone very, very quiet. So I think it's plausible when you think about it that Man United want a striker. He's there. He knows Ruben Amorim. And you have to say to yourself, has he been told, wait, let us do our business. We've got a long time throughout the summer, so there's no rush here. So that's the conversation we've had, and we actually believe that that might be the truth, that he's been told, wait there until we've got the money to be able to come in and purchase you. And if it fails, that we don't get any money and we're not able to purchase you, then stick where you are and we might come in for you next year. That's the conversation me and Kieran have, because it doesn't make sense when you look at every club virtually in the Premier League, especially the top six, they're all looking for strikers and no one's gone in for him. No one's put a bid in for him or anything like that. So from a United point of view, us, wait, little chat, we'll sort it out. Yeah. And then what we'll do is, once we've got the money, we'll put the bid in and away and over you come. But nobody has put in. And if you go back to 6 months ago, he was the talk of the town.
Yeah, you don't get it wrong. You have to look at it from the flip side of things. You know, maybe clubs out there know a lot more than us and think to themselves it's a huge risk bringing him to the Premier League, where they might have doubts if he can do it in the league. I mean, it's happened to many a striker over the years who have been like scoring goals for fun over in, you know, Europe's top leagues. I always remember Shevchenko coming over for Chelsea, didn't do it over here. But I do think, and if you look back even to last summer, I mean, Agati must have been told, hang on, we're going to come for you. Correct. Don't you worry about it.
That's right.
And they had to wait until Scott McTominay was sold to Napoli. Maybe we're in a similar situation like that, where we all know the financial difficulties Man United have supposedly got, and they're just having to wait to get players out the door like Sancho, Rashford, Antony, and other players as well. Yeah,
well, that's what we've been talking about. So the scenario of a player being spoken to and just saying, right, just sit on your hands, give us a bit of time, and we'll be in for you. It may take a while. There's a lot of things what need to be put in place. So it's been done last summer under Sir Jim Ratcliffe's guidance, shall we say. So it's not out of the extraordinary, that he sat there waiting for United to get some money behind him and then come in with a bid. It could already be done. I'm not saying it's right. We could be wrong, but it's a theory based on something what Kieran's just said with what happened with Ugarte last summer. So it's a matter of something to look forward to.
I like to stick on my toes a little bit there, Kieran's theory and all that. But I think it's definitely worth a conversation because of the calibre of the actual striker, and every top team needs a striker who bags goals, and he's just sat there. There's no movement around him. And, you know, if you try and put 2 and 2 together, I could be getting 10 here instead of 4. But I think there might be some talks there as to say, just hold your horses, calm down. And when we start shifting some of these players out the door, you know, get some more money in for transfer fees and free up wages.
Well, it was a good question, and it's got us talking. Yeah. So it's brought us out what we've been discussing anyway, privately.
Indeed, but a lot of he's getting involved on that. A few of yous, to be honest with you, a bit of a mixed bag as well on Gyökeres, to be honest with you. Some of them are doubtful that he can actually replicate them goals in the Premier League. But, I mean, if it's Ruben Amorim's man, I mean, whether it's Gyökeres or any other striker, Jamie Vardy, if that's what Amorim wants, I mean, you've got to back him.
Well, I look at it this way, and I have spoken before, and lots of people have agreed, some have disagreed, which is, par for the course, is we want Premier League experienced players for this moment in time where the club is. We need people who can fight and understand how hard it is and the difficulties, what it is playing in the Premier League. So there's that side of the argument, what people will come out with, and I fully understand it, right? Do these players have it? We've seen many, many players sign for Man United over the last 10, 15 years, what have come from abroad, and then they've just not been able to do it because of the physicality and the work rate. Football's changed over the last 10 years. It's completely different. But there's one thing, what hasn't changed in the Premier League is the fitness and the physicality.
Simply United from our members club. Get Gyökeres back. Could probably do a lot worse. Account CB says, only reason I think Gyökeres will work is down to Amorim. He got him playing well at Sporting, so it's a calculated risk. And I did mention some names, Sancho, Rashford, Anthony, maybe pushing them out the door to raise some funds. But the more I think about it, I think it's more based on getting Højlund out the door, to be honest with you, because he's a striker, the wages, and getting someone out the door in that position as well to then bring someone into slot in like Gyökeres. It probably makes a little bit more financial sense, let's say. And United are still paying for Højlund in instalments as well. Well,
from a financial point of view, all players are up for sale if a bid comes in. United will listen to it. But I've got a funny feeling, someone just mentioned Gyökeres there. I've just got a funny feeling, if we don't get the sales in, I think United will have a list of players there, and it'd be foolish of them not to have this list of players, what are available, what they could get on loan. And we've seen it before.
Yeah.
We've seen it in September's. We've seen it in the summer transfer window, and we've seen it in the January transfer window. So I think there will be one or two players there, late bids going for a 12-month loan or something like that. So don't be shocked at that.
Well, let's hope we hear some news surrounding Newcastle's transfer news where they're going in for Gyökeres, because if it goes the same way as Cunha and Mbeumo, with them first interested in him, I mean, Man United then surely will go and put a bid in and take him away from Newcastle. There's 3 in a row. But, yeah, I thought I'd have a little bit of a conversation, really, just about Gyökeres, our thoughts and feelings on him. As usual, I want to know your thoughts and feelings. Have your say in the comments section. Plus that news on to David Brailsford stepping aside from his role at Manchester United. How confident are you with Barrada and Wilcox now having more influence and control on the football operations? Get all that in the comments section. Have your say and smash a like on today's video, and we'll be back tomorrow. Enjoy your day, everyone, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.